What's up,
Hi, everybody. Hey, everybody.
on?
We're trying to get this live thing together.
Oh my goodness! How in the world? I ain't even touching it. I have no words, as a friend of mine often said. So anyway, guess what happened today?
What?
I got a phone call, and we're talking about redeeming the time. I got a phone call from a friend who was um, pressed to get to a
Okay.
wedding event,
Okay.
and um, it was like she was all worked up, was getting me all worked up, and it was like, oh my God! And the lady the night before was saying to everybody, there will be no excuses. Everybody has to be on time. I don't want to hear anything. She was just going in about that. Do
Okay.
not be late.
Okay. The
Support that.
bride
Yeah.
was going in about don't be late
Not
for her
the
wedding.
bride,
Okay.
the bride's godmother,
Okay.
who is coordinating and orchestrating and all of
Okay.
that. So she was just letting everybody know the importance of being on time for this wedding event.
Mhm.
So my friend called and said, "Oh my goodness, here it is. My daughter, who is the mother of the bride, and myself, we're running behind. We are running behind. The wedding starts at 4,
Mhm.
and it's like I want to say it was like 3:30.
Wow.
I know. I know. That's what I said. I was like, oh well.
See, I don't. You know.
I know you're punctual.
You,
Very.
if I'm not on time, something's wrong. I was in a car accident or something because I'm that chick that the wedding starts at 4, but I'm there at 12. I'm that chick.
You are that chick. Yes.
And you know, it's serious. I mean, if it's so serious as to you're telling somebody the doors are going to close, that's
Right.
scriptural.
Right. Right.
We got the 5 foolish and the 5 wise, baby.
Well.
Okay, you ain't got your lamp ready. You ain't got your oil. It's not trimmed. And so this is where. Let me tell you something. This is where I'm at right now. So this is very spiritual for me.
Okay.
Because where I'm at right now, I'm a giver.
Right.
So I'm thinking, God, I really need to hear you in this season. We talked about seasons.
Seasons, that's right.
I'm a giver by nature. Mm-hmm. But in this season, there is a wisdom to the giving.
Absolutely.
And he created me to give. And he created you to give. I think people limit themselves. For God so loved the world, he gave. Come on now. He gave. Okay, so he set the example for us to love and for us to be givers, but you got me worked up. There is a wisdom in our giving. There's a stewardship. We did a live pre-COVID or during COVID about stewardship, and I go back to that because the wisdom of that thing. We have to get the wisdom of that. And I have to get the wisdom. I'm trying to build a business.
Yes.
I can't give all the merchandise away.
Right. That's very true.
And so the warning
to steward.
Look, the warning came to your friend. Don't be late.
Right. But now, because we serve a God who is time, and in the spirit of the message, he is Kairos, meaning kingdom time. And so while she was panicking and while the clock was ticking, she requested prayer. Now, we have to acknowledge him because he perfects what concerns us. And so we began to pray. And it wasn't a whole lot. We just said, Lord, redeem the time. How about we serve a God that will do something in a blink of an eye because he hears our hearts cry. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, all of a sudden, she said to me, The whole entire wedding party was in a bus behind her. They were behind her.
Well,
Here she was thinking everybody's at the church and seated and ready to proceed, and they weren't.
And that's great. That's great. I'm so glad he redeemed it. I'm so glad he redeemed it. But there's going to come a time.
I understand.
You know, and there's another scripture that says, if you knew the thief was coming.
Right. Would you let him break in?
I'm just saying.
I understand.
But I'm glad that he did that for her. Because, you know, we have enough anxiety. We have enough. And hopefully she was able to, I want to learn from it. That's my whole thing.
Right. Well, what we're doing is we're glorifying the Lord who inclines his ear unto us when we patiently wait, when we call upon him.
Yes.
And that's what he did.
Yes.
He answered.
Yes.
That, as you were saying, that was critical.
Yeah.
And I think when it's an event, such as a wedding, you know, it's, you don't want to
I
come,
just came from a wedding.
Yeah,
and I was there all day.
All late. You know, everybody looking at you when the attention should be on the bride and groom. So that would not have been a good look. So I am, I guess, in awe of his mercy.
He's merciful.
And how he just, again, in a blink of an eye, she looked
answered
up in her rear view mirror and the whole wedding party was behind her. And they called her, they said, Grandma, is that you? and she said, where you at? And they was like, we're behind you. And I said, wow, look at God, just like that. He made it to where everybody was coming in all at the same time. He'll perfect that which concerns you. And so she was worried about a parking space. Just all kind of concerns.
You know, I like that because God is merciful. And he gives us chances.
Yes, he does.
But also.
And gracious.
Yes, but also, whoa. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't, see, this is my whole thing. And I'm glad. I'm happy it worked out for that young lady. But we can't ride on mercy. Woe that grace may abound. We're going to, what? We're going to keep relying on some grace, or we're going to get in line. And that stands for me too. You know, I just had I had an incident. You know, I had a situation, and I can't dismiss the situation because it didn't work out in my favor. So, you know, in the natural, it looks like that. But what I told G was I have to learn. I have to get the lesson. God, what are you saying to me?
Right.
I'm trying to build a business, and I feel like the enemy is like, no, you ain't gonna have this business. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have this business.
No. I loved what you said, because when you told me the story, I wasn't feeling it. I didn't like that.
I know.
But I love the way you were like, oh, but that helped me.
It did.
That helped me because we're learning. We're ever learning.
We are.
We're learning.
We are.
So get the lesson.
Yes.
I love the way you got that lesson and was like, okay, now this has helped me to now
reevaluate and reconstruct.
Okay.
And reconstruct. And you know what? That's just like the word of God. Sometimes it'll sting us, it'll jab us, but it's good for us.
It's good.
You know what I'm saying?
That affliction was good for
you. It was good that I was afflicted because now I know.
Yes.
You know what? And that's what Job said. Job said, now I know. You know, he had to go through some stuff. Lost his kids.
Yes.
Lost his servants.
Everything.
Lost his
everything.
His cattle, and you know, he was rich. He started out rich. And the devil said, you know, he gonna serve you. Yeah, he love you. That's your boy.
See what he did.
Because he got everything.
Yeah.
But remove the hedge.
Right.
Honey,
see?
I'm telling you. And whoever that young lady is, I'm so glad that God did.
Yes.
Redeem the time. He's a redeemer.
Yes.
He's a deliverer. He's a teacher. Everything we need is in him. And we are yet
Think about that.
learning. We are yet learning. And I love that he loves us so much that he extends grace. He extends mercy. You know what I mean?
Immediately and abundantly.
And you know what?
Immediately.
The world that we live in today, there's so much to be anxious about.
Yes, everybody.
But you know what? We got to eat that word. And you know what? This is the thing I was telling G. I love that he calls us to a place where we don't see it. I'm sure that young lady didn't see it. I'm sure she saw the
Not at
doors
all.
being slammed in her face. I'm sure she thought my access is going to be denied. I'm sure she thought that this is the final, this is the end all, the be all. And what did God do?
Right in a blink of an eye.
What did he do?
And showed himself.
Come on now.
Who he is.
Come on now. And it's not by power nor by might, but it's by the Spirit of the living God. You can't buy me. You can't coax me. You can't get me to go off course, because you know what? He's been too good to me.
Right.
He's been too good.
Too good to us. All of us. Constantly. He's a constant. And that's why for me, when we prayed that prayer, excuse me, I was confident that he was going to do. As a matter of fact, I think I said something like, Lord, cause time to stand still. Cause time to stand still. And that's when I heard her say redeem. And I said, yes, redeem the time. And I'm looking at the time. And I'm like, you know, and then I started feeling funny after it was over, because I was like, look at the doubt.
Oh my God. I like the testimony, because we're going to be like, he's an on time God. Right. Yes, he is. Yes, yeah, he is. I love that. I was
looking at that clock, and I was like, and I hated that doubt slipped in like that. It should never. But I learned something.
Don't worry about what it looks like.
When that enemy know that our Father is going to step in.
Come on now. And how much he loves
and
us.
Do what he
How much he loves that young lady.
But hold on. We go into a panic. See, when you feel that panic coming on, you got to know that's the enemy. You got to know it. And then you got to know right behind him. My God. Don't get me to quoting those scriptures up in here.
I want to do that but now. That's the thing. I know. See? I want to do that now.
Now you know. So anyway, I hope that testimony encouraged somebody.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna be honest. I was mind blown. I was in awe because I was listening. I was on the phone like, I don't know if this is gonna work. And then the next thing you know, the whole wedding party was coming in all
wow, look at that.
And the wedding did not start when it, at the time that they had. And,
I mean, things happen.
Yeah, things happen. So yeah, that's how that went.
Next time, I mean, some people have a problem with time too, and it's a control thing. If I don't have control over this, then I'll get there when I get there. But there's a blessing in being on time.
I can believe that.
And it's an order to being on time. You know what I mean? So, even with my job, I'm not supposed to start till 7:20, but it's almost like clockwork when I come in and I have some people in my office. What time did you get here? I like to get there early because the traffic.
Right.
The road conditions.
Absolutely.
The construction.
Preparation.
And then I want to have my coffee and read a devotion before I start work.
As you should.
As I should.
Because you never know what work is going to do. I try to
get my mind, my heart. I try to get all that ready.
Right.
So I'm not just,
right. I gotta go. Right.
So.
And we all know what that looks like too. Yeah. So I hope everybody was encouraged by that. God will redeem the time. Don't worry.
He's a redeemer of time. And we thank you for joining us tonight. Have a blessed night.
Have a blessed night. God bless.
Good night.